Hello everyone, this is Savine again, and in this video I'm going to show you the basics of how to submit a U-SQL job using the Azure portal and how to monitor the job and see what's happening. So I've already pinned the account I want to use to my dashboard. I'll click it and open, and I've submitted quite a few jobs over the last few weeks to this account. Now, if you remember one of my other videos, we have two ways of finding the list of jobs. Which is the View All Jobs button here, or the Jobs tile here. So let's go ahead and just take a look at the View All Jobs, which is the one I normally use. And this is the list of all the jobs, just one flat list. Okay? So we're gonna submit a job, and we're going to see it in this list. Okay, so how do we submit a job? There are actually two ways. And the official way is, of course, the New Job button, which is available here, as well as when you list all the jobs. Let's click it. And, it's just an empty script and an empty name, and it's allocated 1 AU. Now, we have a lot of telemetry coming back from the system. It turns out people just don't use this that often. In fact, what they tend to do, which is what even I do, is instead of clicking on New Job, they actually click Sample Scripts. And they click one of these scripts. Specifically, they click on this one. And the reason is very simple. This starts with a nice sample you can build off of. It turns off, most people find this very useful to begin with this file and modify it. And we know this. We know it from the portal telemetry because everyone forgets to change the name of the script. So query a TSV file tends to be a very popular one that's submitted. So that's what even I do, and that's what I'm going to do in this case. So this is a very simple U-SQL script. It reads from a text file, searchlog.tsv, and it outputs it to a TSV, and it defines the schema in the file. And the file just contains the data, it doesn't contain the headers, and we're just going to submit the job. Before we do, again, I want to remind you that the AUs is the number of containers that will be allocated for the job. The input data here is something like 8 kilobytes, so it's ridiculous to put anything more than one container, just wasting money at that point. So I'll click Submit, and let's just see what happens. Okay, now you're seeing sort of job details. And there's this timeline here that says preparing, queued, running, finalizing. So preparing means the job is being compiled. Now, roughly speaking, preparing will take at least 16 seconds for U-SQL batch compute, and every input file will add a little bit of time to that. And once that's done, it means all the input files were found and we're ready to run the script. Now, then it'll be placed in the queue. Now, there may be nothing in the queue already, so we'll just go ahead and jump to running, which is started. And then that's actually doing the computation, reading and writing. And there's this finalizing step. The finalizing is an interesting step. What it really means is when you're running the code in U-SQL, it's massively parallel, and you'll be writing small chunks of the output as in Data Lake Store, and those small chunks are each piece of the total output. They have to be stitched together. So finalizing is the stitching together of those pieces. There are a few other things, but that's primarily what's going on. So the script ran. It only took, as you can see, 18 seconds of actual execution time, the running time here, and that's actually what time will be billed for this job. Now, let's take a look here, and let's find the script. Now, currently, what we have is, because people resubmit jobs, we have a duplicate script, which just shows you the script. And you can resubmit submit the job, modify the script and submit the job. I won't do that right now. Let's go back and just take a look at this graph. So first, that was the script. This is the cluster plan. The work that the cluster is actually doing with the script is the logical plan, just the ways the data is transformed. And there are job details here. It says succeeded. It says it lasted 48 seconds. Again, you're only paying for 18 seconds. The author, which is me, submitted. Show more. And here's some other fields. And very importantly, there's a thing called a job link. And I'll show what the job URL in this case. I'll show you what that means later, because it's a very useful feature, especially when you need to get help from another developer in your organization or from Microsoft. We'll always ask you for the job URL. And here are the input files, only one here, and I can click to find the output. Okay, now one more thing is this job looks very simple, of course. So, it's a very simple graph. Let's take a look at one that's a little more complicated. And I will go to another account. I'm having trouble typing today. There we go. I find this account generally has a lot of jobs. We use this for demos all the time. So let's find a job. And again, I'll look at view all jobs. And let's find one of these. And I just want to find you a job with a more interesting looking graph. There's a very interesting looking graph. And why I do that is very simple, because it lets me show you more features. So first of all, everything in the graph is green. That's fantastic. The job has run. Let's take a look at the heat maps. That is the built-in analytics we have for the job. So we can display them by clicking on this drop-down. Now what you're looking at is progress. We can look at time, like where was most time spent, relatively speaking. And red does not mean bad here. Red just means more time is spent. Blue would mean less time is spent. And it's right up here. This seems to be spending a lot of time up here. And I can do data red. And data red, okay, starting to get some time up there. And then data written. Okay, so we've seen that this stage right up here, now zoom in, is reading a lot and writing a lot and spending a lot of time there. So since this is reading from input files, right here you can see the file, which is 17 gigs, we have already developed a sense that this script is maybe I/O bound on the input size. So let's zoom out. I want to show you one more thing. I'm going to go back to progress. And maybe previously you have seen me talk about U-SQL execution. And a job is divided into segments of work called vertexes. And we record when the vertexes start and stop and are retried. And you know what? We can play that back for a job, and we'll play it back in 30 seconds, no matter how long the job ran. So this job ran only 3 minutes. And by the way, it used 200 containers. And let's just see how the job plays over time. I'll click this Start Playback. And you can see, if I zoom in, you can see how the green grow throughout the graph. And you can see progress. And again, no matter how long the job ran, this will be played back in 30 seconds. Okay, so that's my demo. You've seen how to get into the portal, how to start a new U-SQL job, how to monitor it, and then I've showed you an overview of some of the features we have to examine a job. Thanks again for your time.